Okay, welcome to part 9 of our redevelopment of the KidsCanCode shoot 'em up. Today we're doing it in Lua and Love2D. The code is in my repository here, which I will leave in the description. So what we're doing today is to add some lives. So far we have produced a shield which goes down as we get hit, and then once the shield gets to 0, that's it, game over. But this time we're going to add we're going to have 3 lives, which helps. So I'll just show you how that looks when we're playing it. So I'll wait till I get destroyed by seeing if I can stand in the way of as many of these as possible. Shield is going down. There we are, 1 life has gone, and you can see that there are now only 2 ships up on this top right corner. When I get hit again, I will disappear for 2 seconds, and I won't be able to fire any bullets once I'm disappeared. Bashing away at the keyboard there, nothing happened until I reappeared, down to 1 life. And that's it, we're dead. Right, so let's show you how all this works. There's some changes in the player class. We've got now some new variables. We've got player.lives, which is set to 3. Then we've got a player.hidden, which is set to false. And then a player.hide timer, which again is set to 0. So these are used to control whether the player is hidden from view or not. There's inside this routine there's now a player.hide function. So what this does is it sets hidden to true, sets the hide timer to 0, and then moves the rectangle that contains the player below. This is shared height plus 200, so it's below the window, so that it's hidden from sight. So the player is still alive, but hidden. The way that works is that in the update one here, if the player has been hidden, which is set not within the player itself but from the main script, so if the player is hidden because it's been hit, then what happens is the hide timer, which we started off at 0, is updated every frame. Once the timer reaches 2, which is 2 seconds, then the player hidden is set to false, and the player's rectangle is reset back to its default position in the middle of the lower part of the window, just 10 pixels above the bottom. So that's how there isn't an unhide one, though I suppose that could have been written. I've got a hide function. I could easily have done an unhide function, but I've just written it all in here. But that's something you can do for yourselves. So then of course we reset the timer so that it's all ready for the next time that we need to hide. So that's how how it's implemented there. Now in main.lua, don't think we've added anything to the variables there. No, but we have got this new function called draw lives, which takes the x and y coordinate where we want to draw it, the number of lives left, and the scale at which we want to draw it. Now in the Pygame version, the scale was already done in loading in the images, so we didn't need to do that. But here they can be scaled on the fly, so that what we're doing here in this very simple for loop is we're drawing 3 miniature players using the love.graphics drawing the player sprite, which is the same one that we use to draw the actual player. We're positioning it at a variable position on the x-axis depending on the value of I, and then a fixed position on the y-axis, and using the scale factor that we set when we call this draw lives. So let's show you that at where it's called in the overall draw function, which is down here. So we're doing draw lives here, and then we're setting the position at the width minus 100, so it'll be 100 pixels from the right hand edge, 5 pixels down from the top, sending in player lives, and I've set a scaling of 0.2. If you wanted to increase or decrease the graphic there, just obviously change this for that to happen. Just for a bit of fun, let's change that to 0.5 and see what happens. We'll save that. Yes, they're so big now, they're overlapping, so not a good idea. So let's change that back to 0.2, but you can see how easy it is to change things. So that calls that draw lives function and then draws those on the screen. Now the image for it is just using the player image, so we didn't need to add anything more. In the Pygame version I had to actually add a new image. We had to create a new one from the existing player image here, and scale one up by doing a transform and then storing it in a new variable, but no need with Love2D. We can just do it on the fly. So that's we don't need to do anything special with that. There is nothing in the update function. So how do we actually set the number of lives? Well, that's done in the check mob player collisions. So when the player gets hit by a mob, as before, the shield is attacked and reduces, and once the shield has got below 0, instead of that being kind of the end of the player's life, we're now just reducing the number of lives by 1. So it started off at 3, which was set in the player's class here. Then we reset the shield back to 100, play the explosion sounds, play the death explosion, and then if the number of lives lost has actually lost to, and we're about down to 0, then player.alive is set to false. Otherwise, if we've still got 1 or 2 lives left, then we do this hide function, which I've already showed you. So in other words, if we get hit and our shield drops below 0, as long as we've got some lives left, the player will hide below the surface of the window, and once the timing has gone through 2 seconds, it will then pop back up again, ready to continue. So the only other change I've made is to the shoot function here, so that we can't fire a bullet when we're hidden. So I did have if allow new bullet. I've now got and not player hidden. So we're checking to make sure that, are we allowed to fire a new bullet? Yes, we are. Is the player hidden? No. Then we can fire a bullet. Otherwise, if the player's hidden, we can't. So it just stops you from sitting below the window, firing bullets up, moving the player from side to side invisibly, and taking advantage. So that's kind of cheating. So we're not doing that. So that's basically all we're doing with the lives here, is just to show those 3 graphics. No other classes were needed. So a relatively simple one.